Hello, hello, hello. It's me, I'm Doug, and we are back with part 17 of Let's Play Final Fantasy. So, last part, we made our way through the Mirage Tower. Now we are at the city in the sky, castle in the sky, Laputa. That's actually not the name of it, but yeah, we're now in the lair of the wind elemental archfiend. So, first thing we gotta do is collect the chests. So this dungeon's a lot shorter than the previous ones, like so much shorter and easier. Chests are all like kind of in the same area. Dungeon, like the map itself is a lot smaller. Okay, sorry, that Thor's hammer, like the thing Lily just used, looks really, really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so like really notable items to grab here if like you're playing yourself are the adamantite. It's an item that we're going to use to get a really useful sword. I think it's like technically the second best sword in the game. We'll have to go and take that to like a smith to fix that up and make a sword out of it. And then the other items are the black and white robes, which are the single like best armors available for the black and white mages respectively. There's the Sasuke's blade, which is if you have a ninja, it's like their best personal weapon for that class specifically, and then the ribbon, which I think I'm pretty sure I've gone over in previous videos. But yeah, so yeah, this is the penultimate dungeon technically. Yeah, like technically there's like we're going back to a previous dungeon to kind of go to the next one, but this is technically the penultimate dungeon, I think. So yeah, this dungeon's like that castle in the sky that was being talked about. The enemies are a step above the ones we fought down below. Like I was saying last time, it's like last dungeon, the Mirage Tower, was definitely like a test. Like if you had trouble with those, you'd probably need to go back and try it again. Like go through it, train up a little bit, because like there's no way to, I think, get back to the ground before you beat the final boss of the dungeon. So alright, so I'm not checking all the items right now. I'm gonna check them after we finish collecting everything on the dungeon. I mean on this floor, not the dungeon, sorry. It's a little late, I'm tired, and it's super duper hot out, so might not all be here, but I'm gonna get going. I just want to apologize if I seem a little out of it right now. It takes me a second to warm up, so to speak. You get that? That was a pun because it's like stupid hot out, warming up and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, the enemies that we're fighting, I guess I'll talk about those. It's really cool running into these guys, actually, Black Knights, because the next game in the franchise, Final Fantasy II, they're actually a pretty like significant part of the story. Like one of them is like actually a major character, and then in Final Fantasy IV, the main protagonist is actually Black Knight for a bit. So it's like it's cool. It's like a little bit of a, I don't think it was intentional on their part, but like it's a little bit of like a, I won't say like foreshadowing, but more kind of like like a little Easter egg for people who are going to be playing the next game, because the version of the game I'm playing, it's the Dawn of Souls edition, so it came packed with Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2. So, and it's like a remake of both of them, because Final Fantasy 2 was not originally released in the US up until like the PlayStation, like the original PlayStation version came out like in Japan, and then they were able to ship it overseas. Like there's no known reason why they didn't send over the original like NES version, because like they had a translation done of it in English and everything, but like the theory is that just Nintendo, especially during when the NES was out, was very strict on like what kind of games they wanted to like present, like, because Nintendo still to this day has like this really family friendly, like play this with your kids and stuff, like very like E rating kind of thing. And Final Fantasy 2, not to spoil too much of it, but like it has some really heavy themes. It's like the Final Fantasy that really got like a strong plot, like, and it was like the beginnings of like Final Fantasy being known for having this like really tight narrative dealing with dark issues and everything. And like 2 deals with like war, death on like a huge scale, and actually going to hell. So it's like like the temples in this game, they had to censor that because it was like too religious. But like Final Fantasy 2 was just, I guess, like way darker than anticipated, and like it was like, I think back in like the 80s when it was released. So like I guess if this theory is true, they just didn't want to risk like really censoring it, or just trying to get it sent over and then just getting rejected, because like that's a significant investment. So what ended up happening is that Final Fantasy IV, that other one I was talking about, that was the one that got sent over as Final Fantasy II. Like they just rebranded it instead of being like hey, we skipped 2 Final Fantasies. Here's this other one. We're just gonna say it's 4, and we're just gonna say it's 2 instead of 4, and you guys aren't gonna know the difference. So yeah, Final Fantasy had like a really weird going about exporting their games to the U.S. And then kind of like after Final Fantasy VI, and like they started re-releasing them, that like they stopped really doing that. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna quickly check our equipment, these new items. So I think the razor is, it's not helping. Alright, healing helm's not gonna do anything. Okay, let's see, does the razor help out at all? Okay, no. Alright, yep. So yeah, it's kind of a shame, like it's really cool that we got that Deathbringer weapon, but it's like, and I didn't really have this issue so much before, like when I first played through this, but like I'm reaching this point where it's like the items I'm getting in the dungeons aren't as good as like the ones I've already gotten. It's, I guess it's a decent problem to have. It's just more like, oh, these things are collecting dust here, but I still kind of wish I could use them. Yeah, I'm kind of just, doing my mashing the A button breeze through right now, not being too strategic. I mean, I have more than enough ethers to like make it through, but I kind of want to get to the last floor here. I don't think this is gonna be an especially long video, but there is a portion of coming up where I want to get sidetracked a little bit, show off this thing I didn't get to experience in the last time I played, and it's just like a fun little I guess Easter egg that they put in. Alright, here we go. I really want to get that white robe soon, so that way, I mean, I'm not too worried about Lily. She's in like the safest spot. Bottom is like safe in this game, but still, I'm sure it'll help. And like, as I'm looking things up, I don't think there's like a Red Mage exclusive item that really benefits them, and I think the Red Mage really got kind of like nerfed in this game, which is weird since it's the first one. But I think like the idea is like they wanted it to be like a mix of like the fighter, the black mage, and the white mage, and they were so scared of it becoming too powerful that they just really crippled it. And I mean, I think that's just my feeling for it. He's still useful, but like he's basically at this point, a black mage who can't use all the black mage spells, and like I'm not giving crap to Walt. Like, you know, I'm happy I've used him. I'm happy I figured out, like, you know, what this class is all about. But it's just kind of, you know, like, I feel like in trying to make him, like, you know, a jack of all stats, master of none kind of thing, they just really, like, didn't give him enough to stand out. And here's that extra ribbon. So, okay. So, ribbon, let's give you a ribbon. Alright, it's going to lower your defense and evasiveness by a couple points, but I'm not too worried. You know, usually, like, less is better, but this way he's immune to instant death, immune to all status effects, and the only one who I really have to worry about is Sid, but Sid's got more than enough, I think, defense to make up for that. Oh. You know, like, the Death Knight, like I don't have any of their stats down for here. Like, you know, like I said, I've kind of just given up on trying to be, like, you know, an encyclopedia about everything. But, like, I kind of wish, like, they had the death spell or something just to make it a little more interesting. But they're going down in one round, so... Whoops. Like, maybe they have it in... Oop, oh no. Okay, sorry about that. For a quick second there, I knocked something with my water bottle. Nothing, like, spilled, thank goodness. But, I guess what ended up happening is, I, like, clicked on something, and it just made all the screens go crazy. So, it's all good now, though. For a second, I thought I lost everything again, and... God, I do not want to have to go through that. Like, you know, like, since I'm nearing the end of the Let's Play, I feel like, you know, hey, I can be, like, a little retrospective and everything. And I just kind of realized, like, oh, I've made a lot of mistakes. I think I've learned from them. But, you know, like, I still need to be careful and cautious. Like, you know, I had this big problem, like, with my last couple of videos, and since since no one's really watching this right now, it's just gonna be people watching it after the fact. I had this big backlog where, like, you know, I edited a crap ton of videos, and I just let them sit. And, you know, like, even before that, I recorded them, and then I let them sit, and then I edited them, and because I had so much, like, footage saved up, and a lot of times it was, like, where I would have to cut in and out because, you know, like, something happened, something happened, and I, you know, had to check a guide or something so I wouldn't waste any more time. Like, I had all these, like, you know, little clips and stuff, and then for a very, very long time I was, like, you know, restarting the intros. I mean, I actually even did that with this video, but, like, you know, I was just like, oh, I had to get, like, the perfect YouTube intro down, and, like, I just had so many clips saved up, and anyone watching this Let's Play will realize, hey, there's no episode 6. And I'm like, oh, because I saved 2 files of episode 7 and I named one of them episode 6. So, whoops. And so I'm trying to avoid that. Like, I have 3 videos saved up in my backlog, and that's it. Like, I'm gonna get them edited, and then, you know, I'm moving into my family. We got a new place and we're moving in there, so that'll be cool. And hey, Lily's one-shotting enemies. That's awesome. But yeah, so, like, I'm a little cautious, but, like, I think I'm ready. Like, I think I can handle a backlog of, like, 3 videos at least, and we'll see, because who knows, maybe there will be a missing episode 16 as well. It's a shame that episode 6 is gone, because Return of the Jedi is actually one of my favorite Star Wars movies. And I guess while we're on the subject, I don't know what this is actually. Oh, this is the adamantite. Okay, I thought it was just going to be in a chest, but yes, this is what we're going to use to make the sword Excalibur, which is in Final Fantasy. It's like one of the best swords. Like, usually it's like Excalibur and then the Ultima sword, which it really depends. Like, you know, they're considered like the best weapons you can find normally, and then there's, like, you know, the really awesome impractical weapons that like you'll find at the bottom of like a bonus dungeon that doesn't open until you beat the final boss or something, or you only get that weapon after you've beaten like, you know, everything else in the game, so you can't really use it. Like Ultima weapon and the Excalibur sword are like considered the best, like, I guess, practical ones that you can actually use them for like a decent portion of the game, even if it's only like the final chapter or whatever, or like the final dungeon. You can still at least get to use it. But yeah, so back on that. So this might seem like a bit of a tangent, but actually it has more relevance to Final Fantasy than you would think. So Star Wars. Yeah. I don't really have a favorite Star Wars movie. Like, you know, like everyone kind of has like their favorite, you know, like for me it changes a lot. Like I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and you know, I don't think that will ever change. Oh, okay, yeah. So less evasiveness, more defense. Okay, I like that actually. All right, I'm wondering if maybe Walt can get away with. Nope, no, he cannot. All right, all right. Well, he actually has the same amount of defense as Lily anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. But yeah, so like some people have like their favorite Star Wars movies. I don't. Like I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and like I love a lot of things Star Wars. Like I'm not like, you know, I'm not in love with like the extended universe, like the old extended universe, because for people who just don't pay attention or don't care about it, which, you know, good for you. But like when Disney bought Star Wars, after, you know, in like that period of time after the prequel trilogy was released, and George Lucas sold it to Disney. Disney basically decided that like there was just so many Star Wars, like, you know, extended universe, like TV shows, video games, extra movies, and a whole crap ton of books, like so many books, and like, you know, and it was kind of basically considered to be like, hey, this is canon. And I mean, I guess if you don't know what canon is, you know, like don't want to, you know, like over explain things, but like canon is just basically like what is considered part of the main storyline, and a lot of it was kind of considered canon by like so many people. Like George Lucas never really considered it canon, but it was kind of like interpreted by a lot of people as canon, so like they got rid of it and restarted everything. And because of that, like, you know, there was like a lot of pushback. A lot of people who like really liked these books and stories were like, you're kind of, you know, getting rid of like something a lot of people care about. And you know, like I'm not one of those people. Like there were some things in the extended universe. I wonder if anyone can equip this, or if the all right, okay, yeah, it looks like the Sasuke blade is only for ninjas. And yeah, I get it. Sasuke blade, Naruto. This actually came out way before Naruto, so I think that's funny. I kind of wish I knew like where the name Sasuke comes from. Maybe I'll find out about that in the next video, but I probably won't. Anyways, so yeah, the whole EU thing. So like, for me, it was more like the Star Wars video games were the things that I really cared about, and like the Knights of the Old Republic games, which I hope one day maybe to play on this channel. We'll see if I ever get around to that. But yeah, but like, so like the Star Wars movies though, like I really do like all of them, even the prequels. Like the prequels were more often than not, I'm just kind of thinking, oh, I wish they would have done this, or maybe they could have done that kind of thing. But like I do appreciate the prequels because, like, you know, that when those came out, that was when I was a kid and I got to, you know, see them come out and everything. Like I remember like my dad took me and my brother, we skipped school to see episode 3. It was just the coolest thing. And you know, I do like the new trilogy, or like the first 2 of the new trilogy. Like there's been a lot of pushback, but I like them. Like, you know, I just really like Star Wars. And so like so do the developers of Final Fantasy, because starting in the next game, actually, there are like, you know, little shout outs, parallels, and like the storytelling and thematic devices that shout out to Star Wars. Like there's 2 recurring characters that are in a lot of Final Fantasies, Biggs and Wedge. I think they first showed up in I'm thinking Final Fantasy VI. I'm not 100% certain though, so don't quote me on that. But they did appear in this like era when like the Final Fantasies were on the Nintendo systems, the Nintendo Entertainment System specifically. But yeah, and also Final Fantasy II has like a lot of like parallels to Star Wars. I don't know if it was intentional or not. I need to check the release dates of everything, but yeah, and it's just like a little recurring thing, and like a lot of people like Star Wars, so it's cool when it's like, oh hey, there's a parallel, like, oh, he's like Luke, he's like Darth Vader, oh, those are the two guys of the pilots in Episode 4 and stuff. And it's kind of like, oh hey, my little nerd heart has been like acknowledged in this situation, and that always feels good. Yeah, we've been at it for a bit. Like, the good news is we're on floor 3. After this floor, there's no more treasure to be had. Like, floor 4 is relatively straightforward, and then floor 5 is just like a straight beeline to the final boss. So, I guess other things related to Final Fantasy. I've been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy 15 again. Like, I played it at launch, played it through basically right to the end, kind of skipped most of the side content. And, like, I'm playing it again. Like, basically what I did before is I beat all the DLC that's available right now. So, like, in the game, you have, like, the 4 main characters, Noctis, the protagonist, Gladio, Prompto, and Ignis, his 3 best friends. And Gladio, Prompto, and Ignis got their own DLC. Like, each got like a DLC chapter that's like maybe 4 or 5 hours worth of just content of playing as them, because in the first initial release you could only play as Noctis, and then with each DLC you got to try out the playstyle of the other characters, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked them. I love Final Fantasy 15's combat system. I think it could be improved a little bit, but overall I really, really enjoy it. And so like I'm playing through it now, and like beating the DLC gives you like unlocks in the main story, which is something I think is really cool, and I like it when games do that, where like the DLC is like a side thing, but like you can connect it to the main game, and it's not like they're taking anything out, because after they released the last of like the episodes, because they did them each individually, they patched in the game completely free that you could just switch over to you could activate an ability that will allow you to switch between characters in combat, so you got to play as all 4 of them when you wanted, and it suits the game really well, actually. Like, a lot of fights flow a lot better when you gain control of these other characters. Alright, I'm just going to quickly check equipment, because I think that's actually a... I think that's all the treasure on this floor. Alright. Alright. Okay, the Protect Cloak is a shield, actually. Honestly, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. This way, Walt has a little more defense, because like everyone else is kind of, eh. Alright, so I want to talk to this guy. He's another robot. I haven't really worked on my robot voice, but I'm going to try to do good this time. From this observation window, you can look out on the entire world. That wasn't so much a robot as like that bat guy from Anastasia, the white one. I don't remember his name. I didn't watch Anastasia as much as I would have liked as a kid, but I love the music in that. Like, there's some really amazing songs, and I haven't actually heard any music from the musical that was released on Broadway, and I probably should get on that, but I haven't yet. Back to this. Alright. The observation window looks out upon the world. The four forces of fire, earth, water, and wind appear as a mist converging on a single point. A point at the center of the 4 altars. This must be the location of the Chaos Shrine. And this is the world map, like, you know, like topographically, like accurate and stuff. And I think it's actually really cool. And they all converge right there, which is, if you've been paying attention or can look at the map, that is right north of Cornelia. And that is actually the first dungeon in the game. Alright, so... and that is the Chimera. I do appreciate, and like, especially in Final Fantasy 15, because 15 is like a live action, like, you know, real-time combat system where you actually have to move in position and dodge and fight and stuff. It's very similar to like Kingdom Hearts. I appreciate that because fights feel a lot more, I don't know, the monsters feel more fleshed out. So there's like this dynamic energy to the whole thing. And I appreciate that a little bit more than just like, you know, different palettes and all they do is just kind of attack you and they just flash and attack. There's no like, you know, the dogs move up and a bite and stuff, and it would take a lot longer and stuff, but it's like we've seen the same animations over and over again, and it's like once you get a new spell, it's cool. The boss might do like their, you know, gimmicky thing, but it's very simple in this one so far. It gets better in later games, and you know, I've been repeating that for like ever, but like, you know, enemies get a little more dynamic. The sprites look amazing. Like, they already look great now, but they get so much better, and like they have such a great attention to detail, and they look, you know, unique and stuff, and the fights against them are a lot more memorable. Like, I'm thinking to like Final Fantasy 4 and 6, the 2 that I've already played so far, and like just how much like I remember like certain fights against these guys and like how it sticks out to me. Alright. Analyzing Tiamat, no known weaknesses. Analyzing Tiamat, no known weaknesses. Okay, there's like more of these on this floor. I think I'm just going to not interact with them. Maybe we might miss out on a little bit of lore, but we've kind of gotten the whole story at this point. There's nothing else we really need to worry about, I think. Like, the only thing I think the only other bit of the story is stuff like we'll actually get by completing the main quest, and you know, that means like, you know, fighting you know, whatever is responsible for the elemental archfiends. And so, you know, we'll get to that by going through the main plots. We'll actually get like the story bits and details like that connects the whole thing. Okay, sorry, just checking something right now. Okay, alright. So I actually made a bit of a wrong turn here. Gonna have to start actually going north again. And I know north is up, I'm not getting confused with this, but okay, you know what? I'm just gonna try to run, because these guys just take way too much time. That's the one thing, like, you know, I haven't talked a whole lot about the ninja in comparison to other characters, because in the grand scheme of things, they're not all that, like, you know, special. But the ninja, fastest character, almost always escapes. And that was really useful, especially at this point. And I think that's the first fight I've ever ran away from on camera. Actually, not even on camera. Like, actually just, like, have not fought. Like, even off camera, I fight the enemies. That explains how tired I am of these, the Medusa and their dog guys. Rakshasa. I'm sorry, it's like, I hate, like, I have a personal issue where like sometimes I can't get words out. Like I have a hard time with articulation, and you guys have probably noticed that sometimes in the videos. So like, you know, I need to find words that like help me work around that, and Rakshasa is one that is posing a bit of an issue, and I will actually, let's see if I have an item for this. All right, we're gonna sort everything. I think yep, okay. I don't know what it is, but I like gold needles. Like the idea of like, okay, like a item that is like your stone, so like you're standing still, so the idea is like, you know, you poke your friends so that way they like, you know, react in pain and stuff, and the idea is just like, you know, a gold needle. It's like, it's just like, it's unexplained, at least in all the Final Fantasies I've played, but just the idea of it's like, oh hey, this needle is like the magic item you need to stop someone being turned to stone. It's like really, I don't know, I like it. It's cool. Like I love the mental image of like, you know, your friends, you know, been turned to stone, so you just gotta poke them, you know, just a little poke. So guys, I'm a dummy. All this time, like I usually, if I want to keep track of like how long recordings are, I use a stopwatch. Well, it turns out on the bottom of like the software I'm using, you can it tells you how long you've been recording. So we have just crossed the 20-minute mark. So that's cool. Or at least the 20-minute mark of this clip. I'm not sure because, you know, I had that brief interruption. So yeah, it's useful, and you know, I'm still kind of a dummy, but I think I'll stick to the old wristwatch. And I did memorize this part of the map right. Thank goodness. finally getting things right. Okay, so now that we're coming up on the 5th floor, actually, you know, it's cool because I can finally test out to see if this recording thing only keeps track of like the stuff you record, or if it's simply the like if it's like if there are stops in between and if it restarts. Because coming up on this 5th floor, there is like a secret boss battle that we get to attempt. Basically, on the straight portion here, there is a 1 in 64 chance of running into a boss called Death Machine. Death Machine. Oh, hey, Mind Flayers. We fought these guys before, and now they're bosses. Another, you know, example of that, like with the vampires. But anyways, Death Machine. I didn't actually fight them when I first played this because I was like really just raring to finish this game. I wanted to at least, you know, say, hey, I beat Final Fantasy 1. And so I kind of just skipped over it. So what's going to happen is that when I'm done talking, I'm going to just kind of cut the recording and then jump back to when I have found Death Machine. And, you know, hopefully it'll be soon, because I have a 1 in 64 chance of getting that. And, you know, hopefully it works out. So I will see you guys in a hot second. Get it, guys, hot second, because I was fighting fire hydras. That was totally planned. Actually, like, what ended up happening is, like, the second I said, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a pun, and then I realized the cut would have been awkward. So yeah, I've waited for this. So I think it took me about 30-40 tries to get this, but this is the Death Machine, and I am not at full strength, so this will be fun. So this guy actually has full, I think 2000 HP or so. So he can actually hit pretty hard. What I'm going to do is actually first cast Heliga. He has this, he can hit, you know, for like almost 300, and he has this one spell that can hit for almost like 300 for everybody. So, you know, gonna need that. Oh, and he has the self-heal too. Oh my gosh, this guy is crazy. Alright. May have bit off a little bit more than we can chew. Alright, I'm gonna heal up again. And this is the spell that can hurt really, really hard. Yep. Oh, wow. I'm just doing nothing to him. Okay. So it's actually really coming down to the wire here. Wow. Alright, so... Alright, we're gonna haste you up again so you can get that much more hit in. Oh, another nuke. You're kidding me. Oh, great. Great. Okay. So everyone else is... Okay. So, how much are you hitting for? That's a little better. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna Phoenix down. We're gonna haste you up. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. Alright, so here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, you're kidding me. Why isn't Sid faster? Oh, I just wasted a turn. Alright. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Alright, Sid, you hit. You do haste again. Alright. You hit. And you are just going to heal, I guess, so that way we can survive the next... Come on. Oh, that's not cool. Alright, so... Gosh. This guy's actually really, really tough. Alright, so we're going to Phoenix down you. I'm going to... I think I might have like a... Okay, I'm going to actually have to use a dry ether. Oh, crap. Okay. Okay. Alright, we're going to hit you, hit you. I'm going to... Actually... Going to use another Phoenix down here. I'm going to hit you. Alright, I am just going to... Curaja you. Alright, so this way at least I can try to get Monty back up so that we can start getting that consistent damage. And we lost it. Okay. It's cool. It's cool. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay, no, actually, I want you to have haste. I want you to hit, and I'm just going to use... Dang it. Oh, crap, crap, crap. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Gonna start hitting for more. Alright. Yes! 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 Oh! Yes! Okay. Sid missed out on a bunch of XP, but dang it, that was actually so much fun. It's the closest, hardest encounter we've ever had. And, okay. So I completely forgot my note. Death Machine lives up to its name. It has a 1 in 20 chance of dropping Genji armor, which I think is actually better than the armor we currently have, but it's a pain in the butt to find this guy and to fight him, so we're just not going to worry about that. But we got a buttload of XP and a buttload of gil from that, and oh my gosh, we're actually maxed out. That's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to Phoenix down you, and we're just going to completely heal up. Tiamat, in my opinion, is so much simpler to deal with in comparison. Alright, I'm just going to make sure. Awesome. Everyone's going to be topped off. I'm just going to use our ethers. Alright, sort. Oh, I had an elixir. Alright, here you go, here you go. You get a lot more to... It's such a... I like the main menu being like its own separate thing. Like, I like the separate theme, and I guess since we're almost at the end of the dungeon, I'll talk about the theme for this dungeon. Kind of like it. It's alright. Not my favorites. You know, I think like they wanted to save like their better themes for other areas, and I'm cool with this. Like, this is very kind of routine at this point, and you know, this fight coming up I think is like the you know, the big one. And I okay, so yeah, I'm actually just gonna comment on that fight one last time. Really fun. I like those like secret, you have to search for them bosses. They kind of become a recurring element in Final Fantasy. This one was a lot of fun. Like, I'm glad I didn't tackle it with my first party when I played through this game. And like, you know, like there was like a lot of genuine moments where like, oh my god, I'm going to get wiped. And I liked how like I constantly had to, you know, keep adapting and trying to bring other people back, and it was just really fun. Like, I kind of wish there was like that level of intensity in like all the boss fights, because like, all right, I'll get to the voice acting, but like in the other ones, it was like most of the boss fights in the early game, the ones that are scary, you don't have a whole lot of ways to counteract it. So it's just like, oh crap, they killed a guy and I can do nothing. Now it's like I have a bunch of avenues of handling that. Avenues. And you know, it's like, okay, I have to figure out what's the, you know, right piece for the puzzle. So yeah, a lot of fun, and now we're getting ready to fight Tiamat. The Lich, Maralith, the Kraken. You have defeated 3 fiends and reached my lofty perch. Oh no, the orb is turning into a monster. That never happens. More the better. May the image of Tiamat, the fiend of wind, be the last to burn in your eyes. So yep, this is Tiamat, the last of the elemental archfiends. They are clocking in with 2,400 HP, 53 attack, 80 accuracy, 80 defense, 36 agility, 45 intelligence, 72 evasion, 200 magic defense. Upon defeat, they will drop 6,000 gil and 5,496 XP. So this dude should be, in my opinion, a little bit easier than the last fight we had. But will still pose, I think, a significant threat. We had the benefit of being fully healed up and knowing what was coming. I think Death Machine was a little tougher because we didn't have that benefit. But crap, dude. Like, I need to comment on this. Like, I read in, like, you know, guys, like, the idea is that, like, okay, actually, quick. The thing I love about this theme is that, like, it has, like, that little, like, callback to, like, the main theme, you know, really cool. But so, last fight, I think part of the reason why it was so hard is because, like, you know, I was running around trying to make it happen. And, I think that added to some difficulty of the whole thing. And also, here is, the other comment I was making before I interrupted myself. I read in guides that the monk is actually an incredibly powerful, character, and while they will be, extremely, while they, you know, will be difficult to use in the beginning of the game. Ooh, pretty decent. While they're difficult to use in the beginning of the game, by late game, they will be fast and will hit hard, and because, you know, the amount of hits he gets just means more damage. Like, it's actually been said, like, you know, a decently leveled, monk can one-shot the final boss. And, like, you know, with one hit, we took down, I think, like, at least a third of Tiamat's health. Like, it's... Like, I really am having fun with the monk. You know, I do like Walt's whole buffing thing. Like, it's actually one of my favorite things to do in Final Fantasy. Like, I played Final Fantasy The Realm Reborn for, like, summer. And I seriously enjoyed, like, playing the class that, like, you know, allows you to buff up your allies. It's a fun thing to do. Alright, get ready. I'm going to be casting Invisera, and, you know, that's the one that makes everything really trippy and stuff, so, like, it's... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, you know, like, if you, like, have seizure issues, like, you know, watch your eyes, but Monty is doing so much damage. Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go. And Sid got that level that he missed. And now we're getting the last of the elemental crystals. Or restoring the light to the crystal we have in hand. Like, there's a whole, like, adventure that happens before the game, basically, where the Warriors of Light gather their own personal crystals, and then they have to restore the light to them in these temples. I love the little like celebration poses because like it's the only time you see them open their mouths. And the Whisper Wind Cove. This is the last of the dungeons, actually, bonus dungeons. There we go. All right. So here's the teleportation stone right here, or I guess tile. And I think we're going to be brought to the Mirage Tower in the desert. So yeah, guys, that's the episode. Thanks for tuning in. I think there's only about 2 episodes left. Yeah, so basically I guess plan for the rest of the Let's Play. What's going to happen is I'm going to be doing the bonus dungeons after completing the final dungeon, because if I go through them I will be way too overpowered for the final boss to have any kind of threat. The final boss was designed before they even considered having bonus dungeons. So, you know, I want to keep a certain level of threat to it, because I do consider him to be the easiest of the final bosses in Final Fantasy, but, you know, I still want to kind of keep the, I guess, threat there. So, while there will be 2 more, at least maybe 2 more episodes left, I'll still have like those probably an appendix episode for each of the new dungeons. I'll explain a little bit more about them in the episodes themselves, but like they're long in a very kind of confusing and frustrating way. But yeah, we're in the, like, you know, home stretch of this. Thank you for tuning in. I actually had a huge blast with this episode. I wasn't feeling it at the start, but, you know, I warmed up and stuff, and I had a lot of fun. Like, you know, between the stuff I was talking about, like, I think I'm getting a little bit better with this. You know, if my commentary is annoying or, you know, it needs work, let me know. But I think I've gotten better, especially in comparison to, like, where I started. But, like, the hunt for the Death Machine, the fight against the Death Machine, and even, you know, wiping Tiamat like that, I've been having a lot of fun, and I hope you do as well. I am Doug, and remember, I'm happy you're here. So take care of yourself, and have a good one.